This man never imagined that after solving all the gang conflicts for his boss, he would end up locked in a cement tank. It all happened because he had recently hosted his older brother, who had just been released from prison. This older brother easily killed 4 enemies armed with Gatling guns using just a melon knife. What scared Nita the most was that during that incident, because he took 5 seconds longer to light his brother's cigarette, his brother threw an ashtray at Nita's head. That scar on Nita's forehead still remains, and Nita will never forget it. Now, Nita's task from his boss was to win the older brother's support and have him become the leader of the group. However, at a critical moment, Nita's adopted daughter almost killed the leader.
なんか臭いって言ったらこうなった。
カレー臭はオブラートに包めよ。
Fortunately, the leader was lucky enough to have time to appoint a successor. Nita then stepped forward, supporting his boss. But Tatsuhiko instantly became angry. He complained about spending so long in prison, without any promotions, only to be left to retire on the sidelines. Tatsuhiko directly stated that he wanted Nita to support him as the successor. Although Tatsuhiko was unwilling, even wanting to throw the ashtray at Nita, Nita humbled himself and kneeled, begging Tatsuhiko to support his boss's right to succeed. Finally, Tatsuhiko smiled, and Nita knew he had passed the test. Next, Nita went to see his father. He told him that they needed to announce the boss as the successor as soon as possible, while there was still a chance. However, the situation became complicated due to Hina's interference. Hina couldn't tell the difference between a successor and a father. She actually thought she was getting a new father.
言ったも父親で親父だから分かりづらかった。一本化して。
おいひな、何言ってんだ。
待てニタ。ひなちゃん。じゃあニタを親父にしちゃおっか。
After saying this, Nita's subordinates immediately leaked the information to the boss, and the situation became even more delicate. However, Nita clearly understood that his father was joking. He seriously told his father that the succession issue couldn't be delayed any longer and needed to be addressed properly. With Nita's support, the boss successfully became the successor. Although the subordinates knew that there had been a misunderstanding, they had to explain that when they hurried to the restroom, they didn't hear the rest of the conversation clearly. However, when Nita woke up, he realized he had been captured by the boss and his older brother. They were planning to throw Nita into the sea to feed the fish. Nita felt helpless, and when his subordinate was asked about the situation, he could only pretend to know nothing, fearing that he might be killed too. The next moment, he started vomiting. To make Nita understand the truth, the boss patiently explained the events. It turned out that the boss had used his daughter's provocation to push his father into selecting him as the successor. Upon hearing this, Nita immediately explained everything. He felt that everything he had done for the organization had led to this outcome. However, the others clearly didn't trust his explanation. Just as they were about to take action, Nita's father suddenly appeared, and what he said was exactly the same as Nita's version. Everyone was stunned. They then asked Nita's subordinate, who calmly repeated the same thing he had said earlier, before starting to vomit again. Finally, everyone realized that it had all been a misunderstanding, and the atmosphere became incredibly awkward. Seeing Nita's anger, the boss suddenly felt afraid.